Tonight we look at the growing tension between human desire for stability and the modern threat of surveillance. From the Caribbean ballot box to a mandated phone app in India, the world is asking, what price are we willing to pay for order, be it political or digital? We'll dive into the headlines that frame this critical choice. This is the Global News Update on top Accolade News. The headlines: Labour Party retains power in St. Lucia general election. India mandates government cyber app on all smartphones. Thousands protest Bulgaria's euro-denominated 2026 budget. UN Secretary General proposes $577 million budget cuts. The story starts in the Eastern Caribbean. The ruling Labour Party in St. Lucia, led by Prime Minister Philip Pierre, held its majority after winning at least 13 of the 17 seats in the House of the Assembly, with Pierre securing 57.1% of the popular vote against his opponent's 37.3%. Election observers noted calm and orderly polling, and the result positions Pierre for a new term focused on economic management and public security. In a region where political swings are rare, the electorate vote signals a quiet endorsement of steady governance. Now from political stability to digital security, a move that is sparking serious privacy concern in the world's most populous democracy. India's telecom ministry has privately instructed smartphone makers to pre-install its state-owned Sanchasati cybersecurity app on all new devices within 90 days and to push it via update to existing stock in a bid to combat rising cybercrime, track stolen phones and block fraudulent SIM connections using IMEI data, even as privacy experts warn the move eliminates meaningful user consent and could bring India into conflict with Apple's long-standing policy against preloading government software. While officials says the app has already helped block millions of stolen devices and fraudulent connections, critics argue the mandate risks normalizing surveillance under the banner of safety, because when protection comes without choice, it stops feeling like protection at all. Across Europe, budget battles are taken to the streets. Thousands rallied in Sofia and other Bulgarian cities on Monday to protest the government's 2026 budget, the first drafted in euros, ahead of the country's adoption of the common currency in January 1st, with clashes breaking out between demonstrators and police outside ruling party offices. Protesters criticized proposed hikes to social security contributions and taxes on dividends, along with concerns over state corruption and the impact of euro adoption on prices and national sovereignty. Following earlier demonstrations, the Prime Minister's minority government pledged to resubmit the budget for further consultations with opposition parties, unions and employers. As Bulgaria stands on the threshold of the Eurozone, monetary integration may advance, but public trust must not be left behind. Meanwhile, at the heart of global governance, tough decisions are on the table. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Monday proposed slashing the core UN budget for 2026 by $577 million to $3.238 billion and cut more than 18% of jobs, citing persistent arrears, including $1.586 billion owed from 2024 and 2025, and a need to improve efficiency as the organization turns 80. The plan, part of the UN 80 Reform Initiative, would impact political, humanitarian, disarmament, economic, social affairs and communications work, while voluntary contribution to agencies like UNICEF and the World Food Programme remains separate, as the world body faces its deepest financial crunch in decades without reliable funding. Even diplomacy's strongest stage must tighten its seatbelts. You're watching the Global News Update on top Accolade News. Do stay with us. Still to come. Thanks for staying with us. We now move to a devastating local disaster where the focus has shifted from tragedy to accountability and systemic failure. Hong Kong's leader John Lee has ordered the formation of an independent judge-headed committee to investigate the catastrophic blaze at Wangford Court, which killed at least 151 people after flames ripped through 7 tower blocks wrapped in substandard renovation netting and scaffolding. Authorities have already arrested 13 people on suspicion of manslaughter and launched a corruption probe, saying the protective mesh and foam used during the renovation failed fire safety standards and failed the inferno. Lee pledged comprehensive reforms of building oversight and said the justice must be served. Shifting to the world of international drug trafficking, Joaquim Guzman Lopez, a son of imprisoned Mexican drug lord Joaquim El Chapo Guzman, on Monday pleaded guilty in a federal drug trafficking case in Chicago, admitting he oversaw shipment of fentanyl, cocaine, methamphetamine, heroin, and marijuana into the United States. Prosecutors said the plea covers 2 counts of drug trafficking and participation in a continuing criminal enterprise and noted he remains subject to at least 10 years in prison, though a plea deal could spare him a life sentence if he cooperates. Guzman Lopez was arrested in July 2024 after landing on a private plane in Texas alongside longtime cartel figure Ismael El Mayo Zambada. The guilty plea deepens the blow against the cartel's U.S. network. To cinema. Iran has sentenced filmmaker Jafar Panahi to 1 year in prison in absentia, with a 2-year travel ban and a prohibition on joining any political or social groups, over what authorities describe as propaganda activities against the state. Panahi is currently outside Iran and touring the United States to promote his award-winning film It Was Just an Accident, which is France's official Oscar submission and is widely expected to make the shortlist for Best International Feature. Long targeted for his critical storytelling, Panahi has previously faced imprisonment, filmmaking bans, and repeated arrests, yet continues to produce internationally acclaimed work in defiance of restrictions. Finally, on the world's biggest stage for sports, FIFA announced it will reveal the complete match schedule for the 2026 World Cup in a live global broadcast from Washington on Saturday, following the final draw that establishes the tournament's 12th group of 4 teams. The presentation, led by FIFA President Gianni Infantino and former players, will confirm venues and kickoff times for all 104 matches across the United States, Canada, and Mexico, with the final schedule set for March after the remaining qualification spots are filled. Iran has declared it will boycott the draw, but nearly 2 million tickets has already been sold for the expanded tournament. As the world prepares for the first ever 48-team World Cup, fans are reminded that in football, the excitement begins the moment the schedule lands and the countdown truly starts. From elections and protests to global finance, tragedy, crime, and sports, this story shows a world in motion, sometimes challenging, sometimes inspiring, always demanding our attention. We'll keep following the events that matter, bringing clarity to the headlines and people to the stories. For Top Accolade News, I'm Jeremy Okocha. Do have a wonderful day and keep watching the global news updates on Top Accolade News.